Hey everyone, welcome back to the Critic-Verse. Today we're continuing with our recap and review of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, Season 1 with Episode 5, titled God Buys Us Cheeseburgers. Now, before we get to the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as we follow along with the rest of the season to keep updated on all things Critic-Verse and to help me reach my current goal of 500 subscribers. Also, I hope you've seen the episode because I do a brief recap of the episode, so it will contain spoilers. Now on to the rest of the video. The episode is once again titled A God Buys Us Cheeseburgers, which is episode 5 of the series, but chapter 15 in the books, and it should be more than halfway through the first book. The line is in direct reference to the trio having met Ares, the god of war, and inviting them to a diner, and he buys them food, and offers to help them if they help him first. The episode begins with Grover and Annabeth at the arch looking for Percy. Grover notices the authorities looking at them, while Annabeth notices the fates looking at them and cutting a thread. They find Percy climbing back up from the water, looking healthier than normal at least. He tells them that they need to go to Santa Monica and that Poseidon will be there to meet them and help them on the quest. Grover informs him they're being blamed for the arch and can't get any transportation that would ID them, so they're hoofing it. Percy finally puts some thought into the theft and realizes Grover and Annabeth already knew this information he just thought up. The trio ducks to avoid an oncoming motorcyclist, but are confused when the rider stops to offer them assistance. It turns out to be Ares, who knew the trio is behind schedule and offers to help. Ares then offers a discreet way to get them to the underworld by the next day, if they retrieve his shields for him, and he keeps Grover as collateral, to which Grover surprisingly agrees. The Waterland Park from the trailer is revealed to be a theme park created by Hephaestus. Ares was having an affair with Aphrodite, Hephaestus' wife, at the guy's own park. Meanwhile, back at the diner, Grover sweet talks Ares into thinking he's a fanboy, and he's clearly manipulating him. Well, at least to us, the audience. They come to the thrill ride of love, and they find Hephaestus' story. But then the ride begins to speed up and they jump in the water before the boat heads to a steep drop. And Percy uses his water powers once more to bring Annabeth towards him. They figure out to get the shield, one of them has to sit in the chair, but automatically know that the chair is booby-trapped if they do. Grover tries to talk Ares into figuring out who took the bolt. Percy volunteers to sit in the chair so that they can get the shield and Annabeth and Grover can finish the quest. Percy turns to gold while Annabeth looks on in sadness as the shield drops. Annabeth tries to figure out a way to reverse the chair while Hephaestus makes an appearance. Hephaestus tries to get Annabeth to leave Percy behind in exchange for getting the glory of finishing the quest. But Annabeth says the gods are all alike, but Percy isn't like that, and she doesn't want to be like that anymore either. Hephaestus is moved by this, and with his flute, reverses the chair and frees Percy. They return to the diner with the shield, much to Ares' chagrin. The ride he offers them is actually in the trailer of a truck transporting animals, going to Vegas, where they can get to the Lotus Casino to talk to Hermes, who can get them to LA in minutes. He gives them clothes, cash, and drachmas to summon Hermes. Percy then threatens Ares after he keeps saying their quest is gonna fail, and they leave in the trailer and Grover is convinced he knows who the lightning thief is. End of episode. Okay, so this was an alright episode compared to the previous one. The main takeaway is that the Greek pantheon is such a messy family. And let's talk about my thoughts on the episode. The episode is a bit slower than episode 4, as it's mainly just goes over the complicated family dynamics of the Greek gods. It's really weird how the authorities really believe that these 12-year-old kids are responsible for the serious attacks, like on the train and the arch. Like, even though they're there, it just doesn't make sense that 12-year-olds did this. I don't know why, but the film had it right aging them up a bit, because it feels like a 16-year-old would be more likely to commit such actions. I guess 4 years really can make a difference, at least in my mind. And I thought that the Fates appearing as a trio of old ladies knitting was just perfect for the way they appeared through the mist. But what I didn't get was, to me, that when they cut the thread to send the message that someone is going to die, because in usual media the thread represents someone's life, and as soon as they cut it means that the person dies at the drop of a hat. But it wasn't like that in the show. And it and whoever is supposed to die didn't. So I wonder who is going to die. Did them cutting the thread symbolize Percy turning to gold, or was it meant for someone else? The messy family tree is brought up in passing in this episode, as Ares calls himself Percy's cousin, and Athena, being Ares' sister, would make him Annabeth's uncle, but would also make Percy and Annabeth cousins, if the gods themselves draw that family connection to the demigods, at least. They do modernize Ares in a way in this episode, as it shows him starting social media arguments for fun. Him being the god of war in modern times means he starts Twitter beefs. As long as it's not real wars, I guess that's fine with me, personally. I also thought when Grover was trying to manipulate Ares, the kind of language Grover used when describing his favorite wars as works of Ares, it was almost as if he was talking to a musician slash rock star. Like how he would say he liked his earlier stuff, like his more mellow stuff. Like he was talking to an artist, basically. Also, it was really cool to see Grover like trying to manipulate this god. Well, not trying, because it does somewhat work. Because the past couple of episodes, we haven't really seen Grover do much in terms of being the satyr slash protector. So it was nice change of pace for the character, at least. And even though later on in the episode we find out that Aphrodite and Ares are having an affair and that's wrong, it's kind of weird that she's not even married to Hephaestus because she loves him. The only reason Aphrodite is with Hephaestus is because she was given to him as a bargain, because Hephaestus held Zeus's wife hostage and no one else could get her out without Hephaestus calling off the chair. So after hearing that story, I kind of really lost sympathy for the guy. Because, I mean, like, yeah, people looked past you because you're not the fighter, but then it just comes off kind of wrong. All in all, the pacing really seemed off with the story. It didn't feel like this side quest deserved a whole 30-minute plus episode. But hats off to Walker's performance in the gold casing scene, because you could really feel the emotion each time he was repeating "it's okay" until he couldn't say it anymore. Anyway, those are my thoughts on episode 5. Thanks for joining me for this episode, and hope you come back for episode 6. See you next time in the Critic-Verse.